space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Adequate. Our ongoing mission to maintain our delicious 90s haircuts and review every episode and movie of Star Trek in existence, including Scouts. To seek out new and reoccurring guests and make them very uncomfortable. You smell different when you're awake. To boldly go where many other Star Trek-based YouTube shows have gone before. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Treks and Trekkers worldwide, and welcome to a live double bill episode of Trekking Up North. I am one of your hosts, Captain Goodwill, and joining me, as ever, is the delectation from the planet Hawk. It's Science Officer Synoiz, and joining us as... look at him. He is the magnificent Shed, all the way from Nice, France. He is 6'8" tall. There are clouds around his head.
We had to extend the view to fit him in.
I had to enlarge. And then I had to build a scene to fit him in. I had to fit him in. It was a tough call, but I did it. It is David Jones, living legend and background actor. Clap, you bitch.
There we go. Hi, David. How are you doing? How are you? Welcome back to the show.
The Tribal Chief, the King of Kings, the most electrifying Canadian you all know. He is back, live and trekking up north. I am fully caffeinated. I've had one hell of a day. Let's go.
Oh, he's on day release.
I love this. I love this blurb. Goodwill, what's going on with you? It's been 2 weeks and already you've joined some kind of cult. You've become some kind of... Yeah, have you joined like a boy band cult? Where they go in?
So what
Every
happened?
morning you have to wake up to do synchronized dance moves.
What happened? What happened last night? I got caught in the monsoon that occurred in the northeast of England, and what resulted in... So I was very hairy, facial wise, and I have a lot of hair at the moment because I have not been to the barbers for 4 months. I ended up getting absolutely soaking wet. Got home, put it in a man bun.
Okay.
Because it was everywhere. And then I had to essentially groom myself for tonight because, you know, I unlike other podcasts, I like to be well presented. So I had to groom myself. And then when I showered, I was like, it was all matted and knotted and it just looked awful. I looked like a poodle. So I combed it all back. And then when I woke up this morning, this had occurred. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of a good look. And then later on in the day, I was like, I should be on a register.
Wow. Maybe not that 90s boy band, or at least not 90s, rock band. But
so essentially,
anyway,
this is just to keep it out of my eyes. But I am rocking the 1990s style.
I just love this, David, how he's managed to explain having curtains on a storm. I'm just like, hang on. This is the tallest. This is taller than you when you're taking up 2 bloody slots at the side there.
2 slots. Look at him.
2 slots.
I had to rebuild
David,
the scene.
2 slots Jones.
He's literally a shed. Oh, I should have put him inside of a shed. We should have created a shed scene. Like, we've gone out to the garden to see David.
Come on, garden. to be fair, that keeping David in a shed in my garden is it's a dream for the future maybe. But when I go to Canada,
the German side of you is strong in that sentence there. But
that was a basement. But anyway,
Fritzl's Landscaping. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Welcome to the lovely Peaches Crimson Charlotte Eckford, who is our first official moderator because Starfleet Academy. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Welcome to everybody watching this back. We are here, of course, to review the 300th Night and Rubincon, the last 2 episodes of Season 1 of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. And without further ado, because we don't want another 3-hour debacle like we had last episode, shall we get in to the 300th night? Should we just pull no punches and get into it? And I'm gonna be open and honest with this. Out of the 2 episodes, I preferred 300th night hands down. I feel it was bigger, it felt more alive, it had more action in a strange sort of way, and it just felt overall a more superior episode to Rubincon.
David, how did you feel? Now that you've seen them, because obviously, which one are you in? Are you in 300th Night or Rubincon?
Rubincon.
Right, yeah. Is it at the end? Are you at the bit at the end with all of the?
Yeah, when all the when they take down Newsbraka's nets and all the Federation we all show up in the end.
That's how it was. I was like, I bet this is it, because that's the uniform. That's the uniform I've seen him wear.
Yeah.
And I was looking around for it. But yeah, how did it feel like actually watching this back after being in it? Because you don't really get the full feel for what the hell you're doing until you see the finished product.
It was different. It was unique. Bringing back great memories, of putting on that Starfleet uniform one last time, right? And getting to see how gorgeous those the atrium sets and all those Starfleet Academy sets are. They're truly beautiful. Just like John Hammond said, spared no expense. And anytime I can go back and see the sets, I try to as much as I can, because they're.
But then you
huge,
get to see
massive.
it when it's destroyed. You're like, oh my god, the atrium looks so amazing. Why is it on fire?
It is a beautiful set. It is a huge set. It's I believe it is the biggest set in Star Trek's history. Yeah. Going back to the 300th night, though, where Caleb finally finds his mother, and he traces down his mother, and it becomes a race with the students to find her before the planet that she's on is annexed by the Venari Ral. I really enjoyed this episode. I feel it was a strong episode. I completely forgot that it was She-Hulk who was Caleb's mother as well. Yeah, it's Tatiana. Yes, thank you very much. I didn't want to butcher her name, but it is actually She-Hulk who is Caleb's mother. It just felt like a bigger episode. It felt like an episode that was more alive than what we got for the final episode. And yeah, it still had its issues. By no means, but it felt like a better episode, and I know we discussed this in our last episode review, that this should have been a 2-hour finale. It should have just been a back-to-back 2-hour finale, because I feel that they built up this episode, and then the Rubincon was sort of very anticlimactic to what we got. My only drawback, though, as well, and I got really, really pissed off when I heard this. They'd spent months trying to find out what Nusraka had taken from this facility. So first of all, months. Secondly, it's the Omega particle. Now, I quite literally, and Charlotte could attest to this, I nearly flipped my coffee table when I heard the words Omega particle, because for those that don't know, when we've discussed the burn in the past, I have often said that instead of having a child screaming, there should have been a detonation of the Omega particle, which rendered warp drive obsolete and stuff like that. So for them to bring it back to that, to bring the Omega particle back into this, it sort of made me think, have they listened to the fans? And have they gone, right, well, we can't, we didn't use it for that, but maybe we could have the threat of a second burn where it's the Omega particle is no.
Yeah.
And I flipped the table because I was like, oh, come on. It's another universe-ending galactic threat at the end of a season that, in hindsight, we do not need. And I feel that for Starfleet Academy, the stakes could have just been smaller. It could have been more intimate.
We've said this before, though, with like, and it's a very much a symptom of, oh, who's the guy who's the showrunner? What's his name again?
Alex Kurtzman.
Yeah, sorry, total mental blank there. It's a symptom of Kurtzman Trek where the stakes have to be really high, and you're like, why? Like, we don't need it to be. We just need one ship to be threatened. It doesn't need to be the entire Klingon Empire's been, destroyed. It doesn't need to be that the galaxy. It doesn't mean the entire Federation's going to be destroyed. Like, can't we just have a smaller stake where it just goes, hey, the Academy might get destroyed? Like, that's enough. That is enough to make a dramatic season conclusion. Because all it does is raise questions of, like, how? How did he manage this? He literally landmined the entire outside of the Federation, okay, with
he did a lap of
thousands of things, and nobody noticed. Like, surely in Star Trek, where everyone is doing scanners, everyone's doing this guy who, we've got to admit, is the least subtle villain we've ever come across ever.
He's the most 21st century villain in Star Trek's history. We had Khan.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started on this bracket.
Come on down.
Oh my word.
Anyway.
I genuinely hate him. He is my least favorite Trek villain of all time. Because I just don't get it. If they made him human and they went like, hey, he's a human guy, so he knows all of this lore or something like that, or he's fascinated by human culture, but then they haven't done any kind of lore stuff. He's just a hybrid species, none of which is human, who has never lived on any like human planet or within the Federation. He's always been separate from the Federation, and yet every single line he says is referencing some really niche old English history. Like, like he mentions Lazarus in this one. He mentions like all these slang terms, and I'm like, what is this? Like, like, imagine if Khan just kind of kept being sort of like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna like reference actually
Bussin' no cap.
Yeah, and it just feels really weird as a villain.
It feels dated.
And like I've said before, I don't know if he's improving and the actors just kind of going, oh, here's a cool thing to say, and they kept it in, and the script wasn't really that. But I don't know. Anyway, but either way, the amount of work that he must have gone to set up this high stakes scenario, and nobody noticed. Like, what is the Federation doing? The Federation's like, hey, we're finally going to go out. We're going to do all this stuff. Oh, we just didn't pick up that anyone had just started laying these things around, or that there was tons of, what are they called? Venari Ral?
Tons of Venari Ral ships just laying mines all the way across around the Federation.
It's plausible, but it definitely could have been foreshadowed, and it just feels a bit weird that out of nowhere it's like, hey, this guy did more work than anyone ever to set a random trap that might not even work.
But do you guys think this also lends to the credence that the Federation and Starfleet in this season of Starfleet Academy, and what we've seen in a few things of New Trek, there's just an air of sheer incompetence on their part. Like, how can you not detect all of these mines being laid? How can you not detect all of these ships laying hundreds of mines around your territory? You've got no listening posts, you've got no early detection, you've got absolutely nothing around your borders that goes, hey, something suspicious. Even if it was just one, even if it was a throwaway line where there was a few listening stations that saw murmurings of Venari Ral ships where they shouldn't have been, and by the time they intercepted them, they had gone, or something to basically plant the seed.
It had some kind of political thing where they deliberately hadn't used Venari Ral ships to do it. They've been using other ships. And then there's this big revelation where they're going, oh my God, we've had increased, I don't know who it could be, someone fun, like a reference like the Breen or something, and gone, hey, there's been
Yeah.
tons of Breen ships or something like that. And then they go, oh, we've just noticed a connection between the Breen and the Venari Ral. I wonder what, oh, there's a landmine. Oh, there's a minefield. Like, there's different ways you could do it, but it does just conveniently pop up in this episode. Like, how do you feel about it, David? Like, in
Yeah.
terms of like me being a bitch and being like, sort of like, oh, it's such a silly high stakes thing. Did you enjoy it being high stakes, and did it add to it for you?
Well, you have the same high stakes in Section 31 too, right?
You did, you did. Can we do the high stakes thing, but with a reference to something that we haven't critically panned?
Will Captain
this
Goodwill be
show?
in a coma by the end of this show? Let's find out. Go on.
Those were 89 pence a can, everyone. He's
It's
got like
all
50
of
them.
2.5 volume. Oh, 5% volume. Oh!
Would you believe?
I'm going to get shit-faced tonight. Yeah, I mean, how did you feel, considering that nearly every season of New Trek has had a universe or galactic ending threat?
Quality of Mercy never did though, right? From season 2 of Strange New World, season 1 of Strange New Worlds. So
No, that's true.
it
That
proved, right?
That's true. Yeah, that does buck the trend. That well, oh, wow, he's owning us, guys. He's owning us.
No, it's true. It's true though. But the fact
Yeah.
is, Strange New World season 1 and season 2 are very, very much loved. Like,
Yeah.
and I'd say that basically that idea of having the lower stakes for them, where it's like just a believable small thing, makes it better. Like, rather than it needs to be like, hey, somehow the world is ending again. Like, somehow the universe is fully threatened again. Like, I would have much preferred it if it literally was just Beta Z. Like, something he's
Yeah.
done would destroy Beta Z, and that's enough. That is literally all.
Because
It
then you
doesn't
could
need to be
have,
a minefield around the entire.
but then
What is
you.
it? System?
The whole Federation. So
Yeah, like,
multiple
how?
sectors, 8,000 light years squared worth of mines. That is an insane. It's just insane. But it's
Like,
if it was
surely, if he's a pirate captain, all of his people would be like, this is a dumb idea. Like, wouldn't
Yeah.
he have been overthrown by now? Imagine if you had a boss who was like, hey, here's my crazy agenda.
Well.
Like, I want to do all of this,
Well.
And everyone's like, could we focus on making money? I mean, I know his end game, and it doesn't mention it, but his end game is if he gets rid of warp travel again, using the Omega particle, and goes back to how it was when the burn was in place before warp travel came back, then it meant that like he can be like what's it called, like a trader, so he can basically go, hey, cool, I'll do the run for you and you'll have to pay me to pass these points, kind of thing. Like, that's what he wants to go back to, so it makes sense. But surely everyone's like, you know what, rather than spending loads of money on this big fucking minefield, could we rob some places maybe, or like,
I mean, this is episode 10 is definitely an allegory for a certain situation that's going on in a certain country that
several countries over the course of the past few years.
But you sort of hit the nail on the head there, where it's like, wouldn't they think it's a dumb idea? And it's like, look at what's happening in the world right now, where a certain country has done a certain thing in another country, and when people have asked why, there is literally no straight answer. There is no rhyme or reason as to why they are doing it. And it's sort of, you have to go, yeah, like, it is a dumb idea, but we are too fucking terrified to stand up to him, because if he is, he is literally leading through brute force. Like, if you disagree with me, I will destroy your entire system. Billions will die because I have got the ability to replicate the Omega particle. Whereas, as you have kindly said, Synoiz, if it was just a smaller scale threat where he stole the Omega particle and he was threatening to just use it on Beta Z, the ramifications, into season 2 would have been fantastic, because it was like, well, we joined the Federation and then immediately months later we were at this existential threat where our planet was nearly destroyed because of your old enemies. We were right to remain behind the wall. We were right to stay out. And they could have played on that. Instead, we just had this like galactic level threat where his endgame didn't really make sense, but we'll get onto that with episode 10.
That probably would have been better, because it would have been more of a hark back to episode 2 if they'd gone like, hey, Beta Z, you finally let your walls down, you've let the Federation in.
Yeah.
But by doing that, and by the Federation going, hey, what we'll do is we'll make you the capital of the Federation, so we'll have everyone, our government, move to your planet, and we'll do everything there, and then that ends up meaning that it's targeted by Braca. Where it just goes like, oh, okay. And Beta Z are like, if we hadn't have done this, if we hadn't have rejoined the Federation, this wouldn't be happening to us. Yeah. And that is a far more dramatic plot, I think, and a more talky plot, which is what I would have preferred than what we got. And obviously it's like going, yes, that's a big threat, because Beta Z might get destroyed, and all the Federation's officials are on there, all of the governors and everything, all of the representatives from different races are there for whatever reason, but it's just one planet. It's not... Somehow a guy has set up a minefield across the galaxy, which is well done, actually. Yeah, you must get up very early in the morning to do that.
What? Because obviously, I'm very conscious that we don't want to spend 3 hours covering these 2 episodes. So with episode 9, how do we feel? How do we feel about Caleb being reunited with his mother? I enjoyed. I mean, I'll go first because I'm the captain. I enjoyed the camaraderie with his friends, where he was going to go on this mission alone, and then Sam decides to join, and then Genesis, and then Rami and stuff like that. I enjoyed the camaraderie when it came to that. What I didn't like was the extremely obvious, I'm going to throw shade at you, I'm going to hurt you all, so you will all go away to save you so I can be with my mother attitude that we had in the marketplace.
David, you go first, because I have lots to say on this, so I don't want to not let you speak, David.
You can go.
Okay, I'm just going to say that right. I hated both of these episodes. You're being very positive about episode 9, Goodwill. I thought they were both terrible. The problem is they fell into that lull of things happening in order for things to happen, where you were just like, why is this happening? Like, sort of, why didn't, like the whole thing of just like all of his friends end up going with him coincidentally, because Sam can just magically teleport anywhere, and there's no rules or restrictions or anything on that. She can just do that. So she just teleports onto the thing because she's following him for some reason. I don't know. Genesis is just randomly there. Rami is just randomly there. He's not following anyone. He hasn't been alerted to that. They're just randomly in that area at the same time. That feels like very weak writing. The fact that like Jaden isn't there, and I don't know why, like they could have all been together, but Jaden's not there because he needs to go with Terima and they do the thing separately. But then Jaden just happens to go into Caleb's quarters, which are unlocked, find his pad, which is also unlocked, which Caleb has just left behind, find all the communications from his mother, listen to them, work out what Caleb's going to do, and then in about 5 minutes go, oh yeah, he's planning to do this. And then Caleb and Terima managed to walk in on Aki and the other Chancellor having a very private war meeting, like a sort of strategy meeting with no door unlocked, just walk into it and go, oh yeah, I think Caleb's run off. And you're like, this is a lot of things that has had to happen in order to make the plot happen. And it frustrates me. And then even when we get to the planet, Caleb starts being a dickhead to everyone, even though they've done all this stuff for him.
Yeah.
And then he just bumps into his mum. He's just walking down the street And then she jumps up and pulls a knife on him. And then he's like, oh, Mum, on this whole planet, I just bumped into you.
She did say to meet at the market, though. She said that she was going to be at the market. To be fair,
though, there is, but
there might just be one market.
All of it
might just be the big market in Newcastle. It's one market.
On the planet.
The planet Newcastle, right? The planet Newcastle, where rivers flow with brown ale and there is fog everywhere. The big market is the central place, you know. It's got 17 Gregs in it. There's just Geordies everywhere in hoods. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. You know.
But can you see what I'm meaning though about the idea of it felt very much like it felt like Rise of Skywalker, where everyone just falls into the next scenario, and everyone just accidentally bumps into the next thing that they need to do that leads to the conclusion that they need to get to, and and I'm sitting there being like, this could have been a lot better. But
it's also it's also like, I mean, Jason's mentioned it there. None of the current officers have had proper training if the academy is only just reopened. That's just my theory. The sheer level in both of these episodes, but especially in episode 10, of incompetence is frightening. And
it's this whole thing. It's like with bad writing, like, when people talk about the sort of Mary Sue and stuff, where people who can't write properly, they go, oh, the only way that we can make this female character like amazing and really empowered is if we make all the men absolutely worthless and useless. And you're like, that's not good writing. That's literally giving her a handicap. That's like, that's the idea of going, okay, what we'll do, we'll dumb everyone down so that you can be successful. But then in this, it feels the same way. It feels like the only way that the villains are actually succeeding is because everyone in Starfleet is incompetent. The only reason why, like when they've got the Admiral there, and he's just kind of, he's like, oh yeah, we didn't think about that at all. Like, oh well, we'll just get Bracker on board. And, oh no, he's tricked us. Oh, what the hell? And you're sitting there, be like, is there someone more competent? Is there, is there someone else we can deal with, please?
It's like saying, right, the kids have gone on this planet. We need to go get them. Right, take the Federation flagship to a place where the Venari Ral are going to be in force. Like, they're gonna see you. Take a shuttle. Take Discovery, take something that you could go in, get the kids out, and get back out of there without being captured or anything like that. It's like, no, take your big-assed floating nacelle feather ship and go and get them. And make sure you're back before they get there and before they get annexed. And it's like, what? Like, why would you take a huge... That's like saying, right, we need to sneak into Klingon space, right? We're going to take the Enterprise D because they're never... that scene, that cutaway in Family Guy where it's like, oh, this is like the time I was at Vietnam and they're sneaking in the jungle and he's wearing a clown outfit and he's like, see, you're all stupid. They're going to be expecting camouflage guys. And it's like, why would you do that? Like, take a shuttle. Take something where you can get in and get out. They did this. They got this ship for the ship's sake.
It is a Star Trek trope, though, of being like, oh, okay, we've got to go on this really dangerous mission. Let's send the 3 most essential people on our crew. Like in DS9, where they just go, let's send O'Brien for this dangerous but pointless mission.
I mean, but it's like, O'Brien,
really?
Though.
He's the only guy who knows how the ship works.
David agrees. It's O'Brien. 1, he gets away from Keiko. 2, he's the only competent officer that is Starfleet.
That is the thing. O'Brien would have been like, so you're saying there's a chance I might die on this mission?
Sign me up.
I can get away from Keiko. Okay,
Julian's like, don't leave me with Garrick. Bye. But it's just, it is one of those tropes. I do agree. But again, there's just no logic.
The only good decision they make in this, from a Starfleet professional point of view, is they don't take Lura Thok with them because they know...
Do you remember Lura Thok, by the way?
What would make this situation better if we had someone screaming at us throughout the whole thing? It's like, we've uninstalled all the alarms because we've got Laura Thock here to fill that void, because that's all she does.
Well,
Literally.
a lot have been saying that in the comments. I was watching Clone Stars thing last night, and a lot were saying, "Where's the crew? Where's your senior officers?" And they said, I think Sean was saying the same thing too. That's issues that Discovery had early on too. Is no, where's the crew? Where's your main crew members?
The problem is Discovery, where like this is like the polar opposite, because we commended Starfleet Academy at the start because it went like, hey, Discovery had this crew, didn't really name them, even though they were randomly in the background or present in stuff throughout the whole thing. Whereas this has done the opposite, where in episode 1 it introduces the whole crew and then none of them ever appear or do anything again. And you're sitting there like, they all got names. So it's the exact opposite. It's like Discovery went, we're not going to name you, but we're going to use you all the time. And people are going to see you. And then this just went, we're going to name you and then just pump you out the airlock, I guess. But, you know, it's
just like...
It's weird, you know.
It was killing me. You're killing my chances of ever going back on Star Trek. Because
they don't. They don't watch us. It's fine.
If they do, hopefully you'll learn something. But hopefully our criticism is, you know, I just want to point out we are not just slagging something off. We are not, because there's been loads of stuff lately. Like Sean Ferrick pointed out a very wonderful thing on his socials and stuff about the fact that there are publications that are deliberately hiring people to shit on Starfleet Academy.
Screw giant freaking robot.
Yeah, this is the most disgusting thing in the entire world. But there's so many people who are hating on this show. They're slagging it off. They're tearing it apart and stuff. And they've never watched an episode, or they've never sort of carefully considered what's going on. Like what we're doing is we're critiquing it from a subjective place of going like, hey, we have loved bits of this series. There are so many things about this series that I've really enjoyed and really loved. But
we had a 2 hour.
We have to say
minute,
when it is bad.
We had a 2 hour and 40-minute review of what we thought was one of the best episodes of Star Trek. Sorry, David, you were going to say it.
But it happened to Star Wars too, though, right? It happened with the Acolytes. People did not like the show, and they trashed it online. Yet I worked on Welcome to Derry, and that had nothing but positive reviews. It was one of the best reviews series of, it's okay if you don't like it, it's fine. You don't have to like everything, right?
The problem that
weird thing where people are disliking it because they want to dislike it rather than because there's something dislikable about it. And it's that strange thing of going, what the hell is this culture where people are like, oh, I've decided that someone has told me that I have to hate this, or I have to hate it because this the promo images were not what I wanted. And it's weird just not being able to change your mind about something once you've been exposed to it.
The problem that we have found is that up until season 4 of Trekking Up North has been record breaking. We have had the highest views of ever on this channel, and the one. We have had the highest views ever, and that is purely down to the hatred that people have, and it's mostly unwarranted hatred. And I have had to, never in the history of Trekking Up North, in 3 years of doing this, I have had to employ a moderator because the sheer amount of hate that we were receiving on our live streams was so much that it was even too much for me to moderate. So I needed someone else to sit there because we were being called extremely hateful things, extremely awful things that
Rummies.
Even worse, Doctor Who fans. And I was shocked. And I said this to Sean the other day, where I have had, since 2023, since, David and I met, since me and Sean met, Mark and everyone like that, I have had nothing but love, nothing but support from the Trek community. Even what's going on in my personal life right now, right? The sheer love and support I have had from the Trek community has been overwhelming, and it shows that there is a really good community out there. What we have found with Starfleet Academy is that it has brought out the sheer worst in those Discovery haters, but there has been a manufactured hate campaign for this show that is completely unwarranted and unmerited. They are doing it, A, because a certain website is paying them to do it, and
Which
B,
is true and terrifying.
yeah, and B, they are jumping on the bandwagon, and unfortunately it is a certain subset of a certain group of people in a certain country that is doing it, and then the rest are getting on the bandwagon without properly watching the series, understanding the series, and actually taking the time to form an objective opinion on their own. They're, it's woke. Why? There's a girl, and it's like, yes, there's 4 billion of them, you twat.
She's not sitting on her seat properly.
Yeah,
My mind.
but it's genuinely shocked me, and this was one of the reasons. Like, we had a lot of anxiety going into this, because part of the reason that we didn't cover the final series of Discovery was because of the sheer level of hate levied to podcasters who were reviewing it. They were really awful and really nasty, and it was very unwarranted.
I mean, admittedly, we didn't review it because I really didn't want to.
No, art is subjective. Art is
Season 5 again.
Art is subjective, right? Art is very subjective, and we, especially in the last 10 weeks, we have had extremely positive things to say, but we've also had extremely negative things to say about this show. But what I think we pride ourselves on is when we do have a criticism, we deliver it in a constructive way, and we also, where we can, devise a way of how we feel it could have been improved, how this scene could have been done better, how the overall season would be better if they fleshed it out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
These people, even when we've challenged them, right? Even when Synoiz has sat there and challenged them to deliver a formulated opinion of their own, dead silence, nothing. Because
and
they
it does
have
feel
not.
like they're just reiterating someone else's opinions. And as someone, as you know, who has many opinions and talks about them for a large length of time, I can't conceive of that. I can't conceive of just blindly going, this website told me this, and I'm just reiterating it and can't really break it down more than that. But I think that's the sphere we live in these days. Like, that's kind of the
well, social media is fake, though, right? So is it really people's actually reviewing, or is those all paid bots?
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
social media
terrifying.
is so fake. It's so fake nowadays. I could go and pay to get 1 million, 2 million subscribers, and
we don't
some
pay.
YouTube channels do, but anyway,
we don't pay for subscribers of Trekkin because we are poor.
Let's not get into that shade, but
It's
that's it. That's a lot of these subscribers on one day. Anyway, but yeah, but I think the thing is, one of my main criticisms about these two episodes is that a bit of build-up would have been better. Like,
yes,
because so much. I don't know if anyone else felt this, but the gap between episode 8 and 9 feels to be huge. Like, it feels like months have passed, and yet. And once again, we get back to this whole, it needs longer seasons. This should have been a 20-episode season, not a 10-episode season. Because in episode 8, we have it where we have Sam just gets reborn, and we're told that they're going to be a different person who's like merging two different personalities together. And then we immediately leap to episode 9, where apparently that's a big thing, and apparently she's got this big conflict, but none of it is foreshadowed or mentioned at all. She just has this. Apparently a rift has formed between her and Genesis, and she doesn't want, and she's kind of bitter about Genesis now because she sees Genesis as like sort of using her or sort of treating her like a sort of, minion kind of thing. And I'm just like, where's this? This could, this feels like this existed in a couple of episodes that are missing. But then the problem is, why put it in? Why? if you don't have time to do a plot thread, why are you putting it in? Like, was it there and it was edited out, or because there's so many crucial bits where just Sam just has this big sort of go at Genesis, and it's like, where's this come from? Like, what? And that's when a billion other things are happening, and you're like, I think we could have lost this. I think we could have lost this thread.
One of my biggest criticisms of Starfleet Academy, and this is not paid, by the way, I am incredibly poor.
Hang on, giant freaking robots got to you. That's what it is.
Hang on, I just need to lock my new car.
I'm just annoyed that they couldn't even bother to get fucking. Like, shouldn't it have been giant fucking robot? That would be much better.
Right.
I mean, you probably can't get that as a domain name, but you can try.
Maybe they just want a top 5. But the my biggest criticism is, obviously, I've said from episode 2, we have reiterated this so many times with every single series. This needed, more than any other Star Trek series since 2017, this needed 20 episodes. It needed the breathing space because it has so many characters with so many possibly rich backstories. You could even dip into Jet Reno, dip in more to the Doctor, Lura Thok. You could have really fleshed and expanded
something to do.
Yeah,
like literally use this character. Like, it's just after all the controversy that Lura Thok's character has brought to Trek, with, like, you know, the whole like, oh my god, how does a Jem'Hadar like and a Klingon have a kid together and all this, like, and then they just put her in there and then just never do anything with her, and it's so disappointing. It's like...
So that is one of the criticisms that I have, and I think it is echoed through a lot of people because it's breakneck speed that they go through this season.
Well, and I don't like Lura Thok, okay? I'm one of the people who I don't like the character. I think she's really annoying. But then the opposite side of the spectrum are equally annoyed because you get people who love her, people who are like, she is my favorite character, she's so funny. And then she just vanishes. She just doesn't do anything. Like episodes like 6 onwards, she's there in the background, or she has like
she gets a really good scene and then more or less disappears for the last 4 episodes. And but my biggest criticism, and this is no disrespect to anybody in the profession, right? And I was mentioning this to David before we went live on air.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, because I've worked in the industry and it's baked into your DNA, the amount of really, really simple technical mistakes that are made in the final edit. This is a $100 million budget show. And I have highlighted this in the last 3 episodes where we have seen jump cuts, we have seen really bad audio syncing, we have seen really bad ADR, and then it carried on into the 9th episode where there was dropped frames between scenes. Now, for those that don't know, dropped frames are when there is a transition between one scene and another, and there is black. So in an editing timeline, what you do, you snap 2 scenes together. So that's how you progress it. Unless you have an actual black end, end act 1 or something like that, act 2. In episode 9, there was a scene where they're on the planet and then it cuts to RK on the bridge and there is about 3 dropped frames. Now, any first-year student editing would go, why the hell have you done it? You would never, ever do that. It shows that despite the fact that this has been in post-production for over a year, there must have been some sort of rush, or no one has done any quality checks because they're letting stuff like dropped frames get into the final edit. And it makes it annoys you because they work so hard on the production quality. They work so hard on the special effects, and then they just fumble at the last bit when it comes to the quality check. And all it would take is a cursory, someone sitting down and then just go, oh, yeah, okay. And then all you have to do, it's literally, guys, you just go, That's it. You just move them together. It's the fact that they don't even check the final edits, the final cuts, to make sure that this passes like a baseline quality thing. And it really upsets me because you see, like, this is the first Star Trek series, right, in 10 years that I have seen this. And it upsets me because it makes me feel like the people behind it, the technical staff behind it, the editors, they're either rushed or they don't care. And I really hope it's because they're rushed. And if they are rushed, why are they being rushed when they have well over a year to... You could literally do a final edit, keep it, and then go back and go, right, could we add something to this? Could we do something to do it? Could we do this? Could we make sure it's okay? And they don't... Now, imagine if these types of things, these types of technical fumbles were in a series like Stranger Things, were in a series like Wednesday, or like Game of Thrones or something like that. I mean, I know there was like the Starbucks Cup. That's one, right? This is like 2 or 3 in the last 4 episodes. And you're like, this is like not giving me hope that they care a lot about what they're producing.
It's a difficult thing because because obviously you are very much in tune with these things, and I tend not to pick up on them. Like I have still not seen an ADR wall yet, or whatever it's called. Like I'm yet to notice what one of those looks like, but you can pick them out and sort of go,
oh, the big wall.
That's that. Yeah, and I'm like, I've never noticed a scene where that is, but it's just because I don't pick up on it. But there were bits in this where I noticed the jump cut, but where it does the whole thing of, there's a scene where people are standing like this, and then it jumps in, but at the same angle, but then everyone's standing differently. And you're just like going, and it's just a little bit of continuity issue. And you're like going, and it's weird because I'm so used to not seeing that in anything, because the editors go, oh, we get around that, or we flick to a different thing. But then this does feel like, oh, they only have that one take, and so they're going to have to use it. And it
kind of feels...
The big problem with
they do a few
Academy...
takes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there being like, and that's the one. There wasn't like another angle you could cut to before going to this thing, or it
kind of feels, and maybe David could back me up on this. It kind of feels right. They've got principal photography, so they have schedule for principal photography, right? That gets done, and what it feels like is happening is, principal photography is in the can. It's all done. The extra scenes, everything like that. And then months later, the editing team get hold of it. Instead of doing what they used to do in Star Trek back in the day, where it's like, right, we've got the dailies, we've got this in the can, get it to editing, they can move on to that and keep it as a conveyor belt. This is like, right, we have filmed it all. Now, months later, we're going to edit it all. And then it's a case of the editors look and go, this scene doesn't match up with this. There's a clear continuity. And then it's like, but we can't say anything because the cost of a reshoot, the cost of getting the actors back, getting the sets undressed and getting them lit and choreographed and everything like that is too much. And I thoroughly believe that there is a massive gap between principal photography and then editing. Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, you said that the final episode was for season 1 was Christmas 24, December 24, January 24.
Yeah, that's when we were just about wrapping. Was the last weekend before Christmas.
So there you go. So if you look at that, at least 12 months they have had to edit 10 episodes, get the VFX done, and it's achievable. It is massively achievable. That is so much time to absolutely hone and perfect everything in these episodes, but it genuinely feels like they have a set of editors that are tasked to do multiple shows, and that everything is put in a can, figuratively speaking, and then put in a queue. So then they're like, right, well, we'll get to Starfleet Academy after we've done Marshals, after we've done Tulsa King, after we've done da-da-da-da-da-da. And then they get to that maybe in September 25, after it's already been shot for 9 months. And then they start editing it. And that's how it feels. And then when they go, and again, I'm not blaming the editors or anything like that, but when they go, oh well, we've got this to do, this scene doesn't marry up with this, there's a continuity error, there's an ADR error, and then it's like, oh, just do what you can. And then they're in so much of a crunch because they have to get this episode done in 5 days and move on, and then this episode done in 5 days and move on, that it just feels like the rush is causing a degradation in the overall finished quality of the episode.
But isn't that a systematic issue though? Because I know, wasn't it you guys? I think I was watching your show a couple weeks back where you said though, to go back, that you had like no emotional connection to the cadets. Like you had an emotional connection to the legacy characters, but you didn't have any emotional connection to these cadet characters, like outside of Sam. But was it you guys or the Captain Squadron who said like you had no emotional connection with Caleb and the Beta Z girl?
Yeah, like
so isn't that a systematic issue with the show though? Just compounding more and more problems.
It's just too short of a show.
Yeah, that's what we're saying about like the season being too short. Because the fact is, if it's 20 episodes and we could build up and be like, hey, here's more stuff about Genesis, here's more stuff about Raimi, here's more stuff about like Caleb and stuff. But then all we see is we have emotional investment in Caleb, but then everything he does makes him a dickhead. And you're like going, I do have emotional investment in Caleb, but it's not really positive. I'm not really rooting for him. I'm kind of like going, why are you like this? Like why are you? And it's a shame because obviously, like we're saying, there's so many different things that the plot says that they're happening. Like there's a falling out between Sam and Genesis, and Raimi's a dickhead and he's a bully and stuff, but we haven't seen it. We've just been told that it exists. Like we just told that Raimi's a bully and everyone hates him. But then because the episodes are like bang, 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 all that happens is what needs to happen. We just see him be a hero and be nice to people and be a good friend to people. And he's just going like, I don't understand. That's a problem, I think.
Yeah, that's a problem with all these shows, Star Trek, The Acolyte. There's not enough episodes, and especially, the way that these streaming studios are now, they'll kill these shows after one season if the ratings are poor. They already did that with, The Acolyte with Star Wars, right? So it's only just proven these shows need more episodes to build the story in the audience.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like tell a smaller story. If that tell a smaller story, that's what you need to do. If you only have like Stranger Things did it really well, where Stranger Things went, hey, it's some kids and there's one monster and most of it is either set in like a house or a school or that's it. Like that is as big as it gets. And then because we got engaged in the characters and the setting and the stakes weren't galaxy ending at that point, it was just going, there's a monster, like the monster will get them and a kid has gone missing. And because it made it so small, it could do a 10 episode run and manage to do world building. And then season 2 built on it and it did all this. Like what we're doing here is going, hey, galaxy ending threat. We've got 11 characters that are occurring across the whole season. We don't know how to fit them all in, like Stranger Things does it, where it kind of goes, hey, relatively small cast for season 1. By the end, it has tons of characters, but they've all kind of had a way to shine. And
my series, when I did Welcome to Derry, look how excellent that first season was. And so many positive reviews, some of the highest streaming numbers ever in HBO's history. So it proves it can be done.
Yeah, that's it. And it does it in the good way of having bottle episodes, like the episode between, I've forgotten his name, Pennywise and the daughter. All of it is just wonderfully done. Like Welcome to Derry. I only have praise for it. But yes. But and also I just want to say, where's the budget gone on this? Where, I had a rant to Goodwill on the phone earlier before we did this, about the idea of where is engineering? Like literally they have okay, there's a warp core breach. We need to fix the warp core. But we don't have an engineering set. We just have the atrium, the bridge, and a corridor. and that's it. And you just like,
Yep.
those are the 3 sets, and they're like, we need to go to engineering, but we don't have an engineering, so we're just going to fix everything from this random corridor, and it's okay.
I seriously think it's time
I've
for
been
us.
there.
I seriously think it's time for us to move to episode 10. We'll bleed into episode 10
Yes,
because,
please.
right, okay,
My arse is
so
getting tired.
so episode 10, I struggled with this because this is a galaxy-ending issue. And the Athena has been captured. Aki has been captured. The crew, everything's in peril. And Jet Reno finally gets the time to shine. Okay.
Yeah.
And in this situation, and we've seen this previously, why are you still treating it like a classroom? This is an important situation. This is a serious life or death situation. This is no time for pop quizzes. This is no time for what do you think we should do. This is no time for... You are in command. You've got a situation that you need to resolve. You fucking tell them. You are good at this, so I want you to do this. You are good at this. I'm going to get you to do this. You don't sit and do pop quizzes. You don't sit and pretend that this is still a final exam and this is this and this is this. And it really pissed me off because we had this in the previous episode where we had Lura Thok going to Genesis. Basically you can just do it. Oh, you've got talent in this, you can do this. And it's like, you are the superior officer on a Federation starship. Direct them and tell them what they need to do. It is so unbelievably frustrating. But my other point is we have this galaxy threatening thing. For some reason, for 40 minutes of the episode, we have a trial. What is the point of the trial? What is it to make him look good?
Trial?
Is it to justify? Is it for him to use it as a mouthpiece to justify what he is doing? Any other person would be, I have walled off the Federation. They have been a threat, and what I am doing, I am walling them off. Any of them cross, any of them try to leave or anything like that, I will detonate. I have entombed the Federation and I want them to rot from the inside out. This is just a case of, no, I'm going to put you on trial. I'm going to put this one singular person on trial. I'm also going to make another person who you imprisoned and took their child to be the accuser. And then at the end of it, I'm just going to kill billions of people. What?
Okay, so 2 things there. David, do you have anything to say before I go off on one?
Yeah. Be very careful.
I'm putting you on trial now.
Be very careful. He has a job. Be very careful.
Seeing those sets, seeing the destruction of the atrium was absolutely mind-blowingly cool. The air quality was... My sinuses took a beating after that day, for sure.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, like they did have to have firefighters on set just to make sure to continuously check the air quality, and everybody did a fantastic job and everything. Just being able to walk on those sets was so special. Getting to walk around, get to seeing Paul Giamatti doing his role, doing his lines.
Yeah.
It was I grew up watching him and Donnie Brasco in other movies, so getting to see him in a Star Trek outfits, doing his lines with Holly, with everybody, it was really, really cool and special. And getting to put on a Starfleet uniform, possibly for the last time, is always gonna melt my heart.
No,
There's
never.
Gonna be others.
There's going to be others.
We'll get more.
We hope for you to have others, so fingers crossed, everybody.
Exactly. It was special. Like I said, anytime to get to put on a Starfleet uniform and just hang around and be a part of history is something I'll always cherish. Ever since Strange New Worlds to Section 31 to this. Yeah, that's as much as I'm going to go into that.
I
I think
love
it's
it. I
great.
love the
I
dancing
think
around.
I think it's such a shame though that it's like you had to you got to be on this wonderful atrium set, but after they destroyed it, after they made it where it was on fire and they graffitied it, and you're like, couldn't I have been here when it was lovely and nice, when my
Well,
sinuses weren't
it was
under
hard
attack?
to see this stuff and hide it from everybody for so long. Because I've
Yeah.
known about this set and, the wall with all the names and everything, going around and looking, seeing Hikaru Sulu, everybody's name on the wall. I'm like, dude, this is my childhood.
Who's
Like,
Yeah.
who's
seriously.
whose name on the wall did you see and like get the biggest smile from? I'm really putting him on
Mm,
the spot now.
Sulu, Cisco, uh, just everyone, just seeing
Hmm.
that and just looking at all the names throughout the history of the entire franchise, it
Yeah.
melted my heart. Like I just wanted to go there and take photos so quickly, and I'm like, yeah, no, non-disclosure, no. It was really hard to hide that for so long. It was one
So
of the coolest things I've ever seen.
it was, like I said, getting back to the episode so he doesn't
Well,
lose a
hold
job.
on. Yeah, but so my view on it. Okay, now the first thing is I'm gonna massively disagree with you about the classroom scenes, Goodwill, because the fact is I think we have two very different contexts. Because what we had in episode 5, where I was massively complaining about going, hey, they're actually in a crisis, and they're letting the students do the work. So, like,
Hmm.
they're going, hey, here's an emergency situation. We've got a hostage situation. And for some reason, even though they should be here because it's just normal day, like, on the at the academy, all of the main bridge crew are gone. And Lurathok is literally just shouting at someone rather than taking the panel herself and doing anything. And the students are having to actually do the work rather than that. And it's like, why have you made this into a classroom scene? I'd say that's a very different scenario to what we get in this one, where
Yeah.
they're in a situation where they only have these people. There is no one else. There is no one else available. So Reno is in a position of going, hey, these are the only crew we have, so we're gonna have to do it. But then I like the idea that Reno treats it like a learning exercise to demonstrate having a cool head, to go like, hey, because this is something that her character is perfectly suited for, because obviously when we find her in Discovery, she's been stranded in the middle of nowhere all by herself, and she's just had to be like, okay, how do I make the best out of this scenario? And I probably will die, I will never get rescued, I'm totally hopeless, but I'm gonna make it work. And she makes like a shelter for herself, and she like keeps on going. So she's perfect for this scenario and demonstrating what a captain is meant to do, which is the idea of going, hey, I know we should be panicking and running around screaming, but I'm going to keep a clear head. We're going to do this. Why are you doing this? Why do you need to do this? And I really loved it. I really loved how good she was as a captain. And it's almost like equivalent to Riker in TNG, where you're just going, you'd actually be an incredible captain like Reno, but you choose not to be.
Yeah,
You choose
she.
to go, hey, I just want to be an engineer. I don't care about being a captain. Same way as Riker's like, I just want to be a first officer kind of thing.
I
And
believe.
Just like Scotty when he said, "I always,
yeah,
when you was a captain, I always wanted to be just a chief engineer," right?
that's
But
it.
this is
It's
this is
it's
the.
people who rise to the thing, and the series is very clear on this. Where we got Raimi who goes, "I need to be in the captain, I need to be on the captain's path because my parents expect me to be a captain because that's like what I need to do to achieve, rather than actually being suited for it." And then Genesis, who has to have the dilemma of going, I'm doing this to impress my father, but at the same time, I am actually suited for this, and her realizing like she does have the skills to become a captain. I liked that development, but I did like the idea of, I don't know, it's the opposite. It's rather than the previous one where we go, hey, here's a dangerous situation, let's make it a big joke. Whereas with this one, it's like going, hey, here's a dangerous situation to make sure that everyone keeps calm what we will do is we will treat this like we've done. We've all been here. We've done this in class and kind of thing. You know, I I preferred it, and I don't know if that's me being a bit biased and
No,
you
I
know,
see I see your side of it, and I appreciate your side of it, and it's helped me gain
the
a new
trial was bullshit,
perspective.
though.
It helped me gain a new perspective. What I find funny is Jet Reno outranks Lurathok, and it shows how much Reno does not want to be in command, where Lurathok is the first officer, because Reno does not want to be in command. And that, for me, I was thinking about this today. I was having a conversation with someone at work, and we were on about there is a, and I don't know if it resonates for a lot of people, but there is a shift in millennial thinking at the moment. Millennials approaching or just passing 40, where they are taking stock of their lives. And, you know, we have been on this path since 16, 17 years old. We've been working for 20, 25 years up until this point. And we're taking stock and going, is this all I want to do for the rest of my life? We are looking at retirement ages pushing 65, 70 in some instances, or not even retiring at all. So a lot of people are taking stock going, is this really all I want to do in my life? And you guys know I was the unfortunate, you know, recipient of a bye-bye notice in October. But before that, I was taking stock of my life and going, is working in an office something that I want to do the rest of my life? Or do I want to take my foot off the gas a little bit and maybe do something that I enjoy outside of work and have that sort of balance? And I know me and David have had many conversations in the past where, again, you were in an office, David, and you did the same thing, and you've changed and followed your dreams and chased your passion. And, you know, partly thanks to David, I have been inspired to do the same thing. Like, you all know I Twitch, you know, I do this train wreck of a show for thing. But
the realization is we have to, I grew up with people who were going, hey, I'll do that when I retire. And it was a mindset of people going, hey, I'll put up with this 9 to 5. I'll do all of this. I'll put all my heart and soul into this job. And then I'll get to like 55 or whatever. And I'll have a pension put away. And then I'll basically, then I'll do it. Then I'll go on holiday. Then I'll do all this. And now that the retirement age is like 70 and people aren't making enough money to put into their pensions to plan for the future, that I think it's the straw that broke the camel's back, where people are going, oh, well, if I can't wait until then to do it, I'll do it now. So they're kind of taking a step back. They're not taking their jobs as seriously anymore, and
they're taking lesser roles as well.
Trying to have a better work-life balance.
Yeah,
because I know so many people, like myself included, where I could be a lot bigger in where I work, but I'm like going, oh, so I get like an extra like $2,000 a year or something, but then ludicrous extra responsibility. And I'm kind of sitting there be like, well, no, because I have a lot of other things going on in my life. Like, if this was my whole thing. But I think it's because the industry hasn't quite shifted to the idea that people don't want to do that anymore. People aren't willing to go 120% into their job and put all this commitment in because it doesn't pay off. Like, it simply doesn't anymore, you know?
Did COVID change it? I think COVID.
Yeah,
I think so.
I really
like my job too. My place put me on notice and gave me no absolute notice at all that I was being laid off. And so it proved to me like I'm just a number, and I think it showed that to every other person out there that you're just numbers to them. Go live life. You could be gone tomorrow, and what do you have to show for it? Right?
And you can be happy and do what you're doing.
Well, we have it because of AI, because, you know, like this is the whole thing. Corporations are just looking for a way to save money, and it doesn't matter if that means you losing your job. It's all about profits. And what we're
Yeah.
seeing with AI, if AI can take your job, the company will find a way to make that happen. It doesn't matter if you've
Yeah.
been there 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. They're going to be like, hey, we can save this much money. And obviously, it's all going to blow up in the face. We have so many companies where they've gone, hey, we got rid of our development department because we can use like AI to sort of do it for us. Oh, everything's falling apart and it's all on fire. Oh, and we're having to pay massive consultancy fees for people to come and fix it because we don't have any internal people. Okay, and
Mhm.
that's just because they took silly risks. But you know, like for instance, like a mate of mine who's worked as a translator for like about probably about 15 years, and yeah, he knows like 7 different languages. He is an incredible human being. But yeah, as soon as they could you do it with AI, his job was gone. So I think,
Yeah.
you know, like we say with COVID, it started going this way where people started rethinking their priorities. But even more so now that AI is taking away jobs and like the things are shifting, people are just like, well, actually, yeah, what loyalty gets you nothing nowadays.
But it's short, like characters like Reno and Scotty and stuff like that, where they don't want command. They are happy doing what they love doing, and they are. It's not all about chasing the pips. It's not all about chasing the seat and stuff like that. And it inspires you. And like I said, the job I do, it's menial. It's not as well paid as the jobs I used to have, but I am happier. I am more relaxed. I certainly don't have the work related stress that I used to have. And it also allows me to continue to do this, to continue to do Twitch. And it sort of cemented that belief that I could just find a job. You know, like if I'm made permanent at this job, I am golden. I can continue doing everything. But it makes you realize that the baked in mentality that millennials have had for decades of, oh, you have to climb the ladder and you have to be a manager and then an area manager and then you can retire, and it's like you don't have that. Does not make you happy. You climbing a ladder and earning money is one factor. You need to live your life. You need to find things that bring joy into your life. And you can see a difference in people. And look at Jet Reno. Look at how happy. Well, happy is happy the right word, but just look at how comfortable she is.
The future of Trek, though. This is what I love about Trek, like the idea of this socialist utopia that like Gene Roddenberry came up with, where it's the idea of going, hey, there's no money. Everything is free. You can just have food whenever you wanted. You can replicate whatever you want. All you need to do is work out what you want to do in your life and then follow that path. So you want to own a restaurant? Cool. Here's the facilities to do that. You want to be an artist? Here's the facilities to do that. You want to be a Starfleet captain? You know, okay, cool. Here's the academy. It's all free. You go through that. Like, it's a wonderful utopia where it's the idea of going, hey, you follow your dreams. You don't need to climb the ladder. You know, the only reason why people climb the ladder is to protect themselves from capitalism. You know, like people have to climb, they have to become a manager because it means there's more money, which means that they're slightly further away from being on the streets. It means they're slightly further away from the risk of not being able to afford the next meal. Whereas in Star Trek, that's not the case. You can just be comfortable. You can just be like, hey, I could be a captain, I could be an admiral, but actually, I just love doing engineering. And that's what we get with Reno. And it's great seeing an insight into the character where you're just like, wow, you would actually be an incredible captain. But she's like, yeah, but I do engineering. You know, it's like Laura Thok probably could be an amazing captain, but she's just kind of like, I just like shouting at people. And, you know, maybe you get to do less of that when you're a captain. Maybe first officers, you know, get to, you know.
You were saying, David.
So,
Who said that line perfectly, right? Go back to Star Trek Generations. While you're there, you can make a difference, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Don't leave that chair, because while you're there, you can make a difference.
But
That's exactly
it shows like Star Trek that have inspired so many people for so many different things, and it's also inspiring people now to go, is climbing the corporate ladder all I want to do. We have been conditioned for years to do is, no, I want to be a podcaster. I want to be an artist. I want to do the things that I love the most outside of work. And I've been extremely fortunate to do what I do on Twitch. I have a great band of degenerates that follow me, and I love each and every one of them. But it's having it's learning that you just having money is not the only thing you need to be happy in life. There's fulfillment from other things, and that's isn't that the great message from Star Trek overall, that money should not be the driving force in our lives anymore?
It is in my story. I left a better paying job, and look at me now. Have a principal actor role in a recurring series, and I've been in Star Trek 3 different times since Strange New Worlds 31 and Starfleet Academy. From that kid in 1996 who wore a Data outfit, I'm happier
there you go.
now.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly it.
Getting back to the final episode, Rubincon. I really struggled with the trial. I felt it was very long-winded and just on the whole majorly pointless, and it was purely there to have the emotional scenes between Caleb and his mother.
It's a difficult one. I think I've struggled with a lot of this because the series didn't realize that we haven't really seen Caleb's mother. Yeah. And then it kind of just puts her in and then immediately expects there to be emotional weight, or immediately expects us to give her the time of day, when all we've seen is like probably less than 2 minutes of her in episode 1.
Well, I wanted to ask both of you.
Well, she appears in this one, and then immediately she's acting like a bit of a nightmare around people, and we're like, this. It feels weird. It feels weird having a character come in, immediately cause all of these problems and whatnot. And I don't know.
I wanted to ask both of you, do you feel if this series was extended, even 15 episodes, that the emotional scenes in this final episode would have been better if throughout the series we would have had flashbacks to Caleb as a child with his mother struggling on these planets, doing these robberies, doing these heists and stuff like that? Maybe, just having a flashback when they were eating food out of a dumpster and she was teaching them a lesson there, and just having something throughout the season that sort of let us understand their emotional connection with each other, because essentially all we have is... Do you not think?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. I don't think we need to reinforce the connection between Caleb and his mother, because I think it's implied. I think it's a thing that we can understand the connection that a child has for their parent. So I don't think that's the thing that needed explaining. I think it was more Caleb's mother's motivations. Like, I think it would have been much better if episode 9 and episode 10 were like 4 episodes apart, where we could have had Caleb's mum coming back in, meeting Aki, and then realizing, oh, there's all of this drama between them because they still, she still hates like Chancellor Aki, and there's all this tension there, and it's kind of have her like someone at the academy where she's not wanting to be there, but she's kind of there, a bit like Michelle Yao in Discovery.
Oh yes, Mirror Universe Giorgio. Yeah.
Where Giorgio's there and she's just like, I hate everyone here. Why am I here? And you like a bit of a wild card. But then have it where there's a bit of development there, and it's showing this tension between the situation and her being like, look, I don't like you being part of Starfleet. And then it meant that in 10, her being put on the stand and going, right, okay, here's an opportunity for you to actually get revenge after you've spent some time amongst these people. How do you feel now? Like, that would have been more weight there. Whereas at the moment, it just goes, okay, so she just appears, she hates Aki, and then she's put in a situation where she has to like sort of judge Aki. Well, naturally, she's just going to do that. And I know that's Bracca's whole plan, but then it doesn't feel to have any weight. It's literally like she
No.
just comes in and her whole character trait is, I'm angry because I fucked my son over. Well, effectively, like, hey, cool, like my actions ended up destroying myself and my son's life, which is her whole plot. But
David?
sorry, David, yeah.
Oh, Star Trek does need Star Trek does need more episodes. I think that's a systematic issue with the franchise right now. Um, but it also took one episode for Riker and his dad to have, complete, their tension
Yeah.
and then actually
Yeah.
start coming back together. So is that
It could be a writing issue as well, though.
Yeah.
Like,
I think if the whole episode was that, David, if the entire A plot of the episode was the tension between Caleb and his mum and then Aki, that would be it. But then instead we've got a whole universe ending thing happening at the same time. We've got like 7 other characters having their own little things going on and stuff. I think, yeah, if they could have done it. It still wouldn't have been ideal, but they could have done it in one episode if it was the A plot.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like we had with Riker and his dad.
I think a lot of the foibles that we are having is they are trying to shoehorn too many things
Yeah.
into 10 episodes.
If Starfleet Academy had 4 characters and 10 episodes, they could have fleshed everyone out and done a really good job of it. But instead, they've gone, let's have a normal sized cast for a 25 episode season, and then we just don't know how to use most of them. Like.
It's really sad because as well, this episode, as David has alluded to, there's scenes left on the cutting room floor which would have changed it a little bit, like at the end of the trial when the mines are disabled and the Federation warps in. David's here kicking ass and neutralizing the Venari Ral and stuff like that, and it sounds absolutely awesome, and we don't see it.
We see a little bit of it.
Not a
Like we see
lot,
sort of them
though.
appearing and capturing them, but it's not really a
There's
full
no
fight. Was it a full
firefight.
fight scene when you did it,
what's
David?
that?
Was
What's
it like
that?
a full fight scene, like a full firefight
Oh
with a
yeah, we
Venari
were
Ral?
pointing the phasers and they're
Yeah.
telling us take your marks and you had certain objects you had to point your phasers at and everything. So yeah, some of the stuff didn't happen clearly.
It's kind of interesting to wonder why they did that. Maybe they just wanted it to change the tone, keep the tone that was there of resolving it through non-violence, maybe.
It's probably timing. It's probably like, hey, we could.
But why? Because there's no time. But there's no time limit. This episode was over. It was an hour and 15 minutes long. So again, it's like,
Yeah.
why? Like it must be. It must be. They made the decision that day when David was there. They were like, we're gonna have a firefight, and then at the end we're gonna subdue. But then in the edit, the director and maybe was Kurtzman the director for this one, David?
No, it's Jonathan Frakes, isn't it?
No, Frakes was 9. Yeah.
No, he did 9. I believe it was
Yeah.
Kurtzman.
Yeah, so maybe Kurtzman's like, maybe we change the tone and get rid of the firefight and maybe show
In
that
Ola
we,
Tunde.
yeah, maybe show that we have resolved this through peaceful matters where the Federation has beamed in and then just subdued the Venari Ral instead of having a firefight. Because don't forget, all the way through the trial, Noose Bracker is accusing the Federation of essentially B-wording a civilian mining settlement after his father tried to shoot down one of the ships and stuff like that.
It's just so badly
But-
done,
but
and it's so frustrating. Like all of this stuff where you're like, I want to know what this is. Why is it just sped through? Like, couldn't that have been foreshadowed? Couldn't
Yeah.
it have episode 1 have had that is his motivation? That
Yeah.
is why he is doing the things he's doing. And then over the course of the series, we kind of unravel it and be like, oh, that doesn't happen. And then the revelation is in this episode, oh, that whole thing. oh, actually, you did that. But it just feels weird having it within 5 minutes. He introduces like this, oh, here's my reason for doing everything. And then she's just like, oh, that you're wrong. And he's like, oh, well, we could have all, it's like end of Baby Jane. Like all this time we could have been friends. But yeah, and it's stuff like that where it's like, who are these other people? Who are the people that are they all other crime lords? Like, couldn't we have had scenes in previous episodes where it has Bracker meeting with these crime lords and having it where his main goal is to become the lead, the king pirate of everything, and he's got meetings with them and he's trying to set things up or whatever? Like, there's nothing. These people are just people that appear. There's no depth to it. They're not like mentioned as the Orion Syndicate. They're not mentioned as this, that, or the other. It's just going generic space pirates. And they just appear there and then just stand there and do nothing. Like, I don't know, the whole thing of, we've had trials before and we've had biased trials before in Trek. Like the speaking of O'Brien earlier, the DS9 one where it's like where he gets put on trial in Cardassia, where
Oh
obviously it's
yes,
like where it's like,
Yeah.
hey,
it's a show trial. Yeah,
yeah, it's a show trial. That's what this is. Brackett is trying to do a show trial, and it's like that's cool, but why the hell are you giving like Aki the chance to say all of her arguments? Like what it should have been is her trying to go, oh yeah, by the way, we didn't do that. That's not true, and him stopping her, cutting her down, like. Changing the narrative and going, hey, cut the camera or we'll edit this bit out or something like that. Like, it just feels weird that his master plan after doing all of this stuff is to go, I'll just let her beat me in an argument and I'll allow that to happen. It's a weird flex, I will say,
it
because he
it's
doesn't have an argument and she's way better at arguing than he is. And then he puts her because the whole thing with the Cardassia episode is that they go, ha ha ha, we're so certain that we've got this in the bag, we're going to show the entire world and we're going to have this whole trial live streamed. And then as it goes on, they're like, oh dear, that's embarrassing for us, so we'll just stop this now. Whereas Bracker, who is he showing this to? Why are there television crews that will show to the galaxy?
it
Like
it
I
feels it
that's never
feels
been hinted at. We haven't seen anything about these TV stations in previous episodes. Like, is there a pirate TV network? Or is it like the equivalent of having ITV or Fox News just randomly there helping space pirates? It's
it
like,
it feels right, and I mean, quite hilariously, people have criticised online that the Venari News Network's logo is the automatons logo from Helldivers, which is hilarious.
Is that what they are? The Venari News. I must have missed that.
Venari Rawl News Network, right?
So space pirates have their own
This is
news
this is the
network.
thing. What you have to realise, guys, this is a not so subtle reference to a certain news network in America that is the mouthpiece of the government, shall we say, and all of this is an allegory where this, evil person is using an arm of the media to make himself look good, to make himself look powerful, and he's using it to flex his power, his might, and to show off his ability that he could crush the Federation within a second by detonating. And you just have to look out the window what's going on. And it's
And in that situation, that's also backfired massively.
yeah,
So
and it just
we're all gonna
like I
pay for
said, it's so it's so thinly veiled when Star Trek has done it so brilliantly for 60 years. This was so thinly veiled that, again, I sat there and I was alone when I watched this, and I just went, because it could have been written much better and it could have been done much better, but time constraints, writing issues, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not an expert on writing by any means, but this was just, it was a damp squid of an episode. It really, really was. And go on.
So how would you rank this in of all those series finales for like first seasons? Where would you rank this among the pile?
It's certainly below Discovery. It is by far and away below Discovery, but there's just so many questions that we're not going to get answers to because we know that Paul Giamatti is not in season 2 of Starfleet Academy. So
And
what
I was really
happened?
like, cool, he can die. We can
Yeah.
get him getting shot. Something dramatic happens. That I was looking forward to it to be like, okay, cool. They've painted him as this ludicrous villain. Like this whole thing, the whole trial is literally him doing a villain monologue, and everyone just stands by and lets it happen, which is
So
very
what happened to him? Did he go to prison? Did he flee? What happened?
He should have got
What
shot.
are the
He should
consequences?
have got.
But this is the thing. What are the
Caleb's mum
consequences?
should have shot him. Caleb's mum
Thank
should
you.
have gone, you caused all of this. Realizing that it wasn't Aki, it was the fact of Aki did her job, you know, and she did it badly. She didn't think about, you know, it properly, and she fucked up. But effectively, you know, Caleb and Caleb's mum wouldn't have been in that situation had they not have listened to Nusbracker. It's a perfect motivation for the mum just to go, hey, I'm just going to take you out. Like, and then, but now it just means that he's just this random loose end where he just goes to prison.
He's
And
just
that
in a
feels-
prison again. And it's
Yeah.
like, it just felt, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the chat or you guys, it just felt like there was a dramatic rewrite at the last minute. That's what it feels like. And I know Dave was there, and you know, I'm assuming there was no change or anything last minute, that it was directed that he would, yeah, so yeah, there you go. But it feels like in the writing room there was a change at the last minute where they eliminated the he would be unalived and that he was just captured. But again, it felt like this episode was like an hour and 15 minutes long, and then the last 10 minutes was like, and then we got captured, and then they're all in. And it's like, why did you have to speed through the end of the episode? What happened to Nusbracker? Where is he? Could you have had Aki visiting him in prison and leave it open-ended for a little bit? Do you know what I mean? And then, maybe he'll come back in season 3 or something like that. Could there have been a twist where it was actually Caleb's mum who was the leader of the Venarial, which I was hoping for 5 episodes?
The problem is we kind of theorized that, and then it didn't happen. I was just like, and we still got something, and I was still disappointed. I was just like, I was kind of expecting that, but I'm just going like, oh yeah, that actually would have been more exciting than what we actually got, which is just that she's just there. Like, everything is so contrived. Like, it's, you know, everything
It just
is
ended. It ended really weirdly.
The
Like,
whole,
they
like,
don't even go down to
oh,
Beta Z.
oh, it turns out like Caleb's been doing this for like, you know, years and years, and he's been trying to sort of contact his mum and stuff like that. And then it turns out that actually she has been reaching out to him, and he's just totally missed it, even though he's this genius who can hack all of this stuff. And he's just randomly missed it. And how does actually, no, this is a random thing. How does it even work? The Caleb getting the messages from his mum in the first episode. Where did they go? Because she's been sending messages, okay? And do they just, when you send messages in this version of Star Trek, they just hang around in the universe? Or is there some kind of Federation like bank, like memory bank, where messages get stored until you come up with the encryption key, and then they all get unlocked for you? Or were they on his device being sent to him, and he just never noticed, oh, there's all these files that I need some kind of encryption key for? Like, the technology doesn't make any sense. It just happens in order to happen, and it hasn't been foreshadowed at all. Like, it could have had stuff of going, oh, there's some kind of messages coming in, and they're being delivered to you know, this device, and we can't do that because then it would suggest she knows where he is. I don't know. There must just be a random free, like, you know, post office thing where you can just send random mail, and it just hangs around in a computer system for an entire galaxy without needing an endpoint, and then you just need a single word encryption, and nobody has hacked that. Anyway, That was just a random thing for me.
The
But it's the
plot
fact of
has
that
to move.
happens in order for the plot to happen. And he uncovers it at this point in order for the plot to happen. And he leaves that pad on the table for Jaden to find it so that the plot can happen. And then, and just everything just happens for the sake of happening rather than it feeling like a natural progression. Like the Doctor. What happens with the Doctor?
How did they fix him?
Yeah, the Doctor gets messed up, but then the Doctor, I just don't get it. Like,
The Doctor
why
gets
does the
messed
Doctor
up.
get messed up? Is it to create like a sort of, oh my God, it's a tension between Sam and her new dad, and it's like, oh my God, she's, and if it was there to demonstrate a whole thing, that should have been a whole bloody episode. That should have been the end of the previous episode. The Doctor gets like messed up and kind of has like hologram Alzheimer's. And then the next episode is her realizing, oh God, he's my dad now, and we need to fix him. But all we get is basically he gets like damaged, and then in the next scene, somehow he's worked out the entire solution, but just didn't know before he went into the computer about it. But he's actually worked out the solution to the Omega particle problem.
Yeah.
And he's trying to tell her through some gibberish, and then they work it out. But even though he can't speak properly, he can still understand her words properly. And then in the next scene, he's repaired and fine. And you're like going, did that need to happen? Or could we just have had a scene where the Doctor just goes, I've got it. We need to do this. That's it. Like, it just feels weird that happened to happen. I don't know. Sorry,
just...
David, I'm going off on one, and I'm just being like this.
His ass is so numb right now.
And I still have to do the captain's quadrants.
Oh no!
Hey Joe, welcome in. Yes,
hey,
yes,
Joe.
It's a little messy. Yes, very messy.
Hello, Joe Dove.
It just feels like there was not enough time. They didn't clear everything up, and it was just like, and everybody lived happily ever after. And it's like, no, this is not how Star Trek. Like, you need to, like, how did you fix the Doctor? How did the Athena get repaired so fucking quickly?
Yeah.
Why is no one on Beta Z for the opening of the Federation? Like, you could have ended that episode with the Academy graduating at Federation headquarters and showing that and going, yes, this is a new chapter in Star Trek. We're no longer on Earth or anything like that, blah, blah, blah. And we just don't get that. What happened to the War College? Where is the War College? They just suddenly disappeared.
They weren't involved. Yeah.
What happened to Jaden's boyfriend? He just suddenly disappeared. What happened to Dax? Where is Dax in this? She disappeared. And this is going to be the controversial take of the episode. Are you both ready?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh. Are you both ready?
Oh.
Where was Discovery?
Yeah.
The wall came down. The first frigging ship that should have been there was Discovery. Nowhere to be seen. And they talked about her. They said, oh, well, she can't do it. And again, another nice plot convenience. Oh, Noose Bracker has successfully tapped into subspace, so they can't use the mycelial network, and they can't use that. And I'm like,
it's also like,
how convenient.
How the fuck have you worked this out when you blatantly haven't scanned the entire quadrant for like several months? Like, the idea that they could be like, oh yeah, we've scanned it now, and we've realized, oh yeah, we can't use the mycelial network because A, it's nonsense, and B, the plot can't handle it. But the fact of just going, hang on, so you just decided to just not check anything for like months in order for this minefield to be laid. But then as soon as you know it's there, then you're going to be like, okay, we'll just scan it. Like, the whole thing with Trek is going, hey, the ship is constantly scanning and going, hey, we've noticed a discrepancy millions of miles away that we might want to investigate, rather than being like, hey, someone's placed this thing with an Omega particle in it and nothing came up.
Bearing in mind,
bear in mind, Voyager had an alert that went off when it sensed anything. Within miles, and you just sitting there like, so And I get maybe it's in something and it's contained and it's hidden and like.
But it
it's like,
shouldn't be. Like the sensors should detect it, and immediately every Starfleet computer, as we saw in Voyager, the sensors detected the particle and bang. Every single computer locks down. Janeway knows what she needs to do. Bam, bam, bam. And they act and they do it. This one, they're like, well, we had a look in like 4 months.
We put it in a box, and you can't scan this particular box. And we've never mentioned this box before, but yeah.
I accidentally, I put it in Bravo instead of Omega.
No, I put in some jam, and it turns out that like Starfleet can't scan.
It dampens the jam.
In a jam box.
Jamminers,
or jelly if you're in America. But
Jello.
But it's this idea of the entire thing is very full of these things happen so that the plot can happen, rather than. But I did like the mention of the Discovery. That's what I appreciate. The idea of they have thought of, oh, why don't you just do this? Because it is. If the chance of the Omega particle destroying it and making warp travel incapable, then apparently it doesn't affect the mycelia network, and therefore Discovery.
Why is it kept on a station? Why is it kept on a station with other fucking artifacts? If you have got something like that, right, that is galaxy ending, right, you bury it in the deepest, most remotest part of Federation space, not on a station with other shit next to it. You don't put it next to the ham. You don't put it next to the cheese. You have it in its own unique place, far away, where it can't, even if it accidentally goes off, it's away.
Isn't what we're talking about, though, Starfleet's hubris over the last couple of hundred years, where they have just gone, hey, we have got a bit but then it's also the idea of this research facility wasn't particularly. I'd say it's fine. I'd say it's fine that it was being researched there. They put security on it, but they weren't really expecting anyone to know that was there or to come for it. So I can accept that.
Too complacent.
Yeah, but David, how do you feel about it though? In terms of
in the nicest, most diplomatic way possible.
We did have the Genesis device in Star Trek Picard.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had. Yes,
it was just randomly there.
It was next to
Moriarty. Was just randomly there.
It was next to Kirk's body.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I've been watching the Nanny.
It's the Indiana Jones warehouse, but in Trek.
I've been watching the Nanny on rerun. For a number of weeks.
The Hulk Hogan movie.
No, the series with Fran Drescher. And so it's a sitcom from the 90s, and Niles, the butler, is the same actor that plays Moriarty in The Next Generation. And he is honestly, Synoiz, he's you in a butler's. God. He is so
that poor bastard.
Joe, I don't know if Joe's ever seen The Nanny, but Niles has got is it rapier wit, scimitar wit?
A rapier wit. Oh my word!
Scimitar wit.
That's a phrase at the minute.
It is so. That just every time I see him, I just think of Moriarty. But again, Picard season 3, that was plot for plot's sake, wasn't it? It was to move on the plot. But again, with that Omega particle, with it being that serious and that thing, it would be the most remotest issue with nothing else on it. That is purely the singular thing that it does. And for them to go, yeah, we had a few other bits on there, so it just took us months to find out what he took. And I'm just how fucking lazy are you, where you've had the leader of
the Omega particle is missing. You would think that was a thing.
The leader of an enemy faction has invaded your station, has ransacked it, and you have no tracker on this. You have no possible. You've got no Apple tag, geotag. You've not got Find My Omega Particle on your fucking tricorder app. You've just got, oh, yeah, that thing he took 3 months ago. Oh, it's gone. Oh, he's got 600 of the bastards now. Oh, shit, we best do something about that, like, what's really... And
it is true. There would be an inventory system in order to be like, I mean, maybe they have something where it's like, oh, the pirates destroyed the inventory system, so they had no idea until they looked through everything. But that's the whole thing. It's like, those are the important things to put in a script.
Listen,
like, those are the...
listen. For the UK viewers, if Argos can have a top-of-the-line inventory system, so can Starfleet, okay?
Yeah.
That is a deep cut for my British friends, okay? They just need a clawed pair of hands bringing out a box to have the Omega. But
you're suggesting Nosferatu works at Argos?
Yeah, they don't see daylight. Cashier number 4, please. Your multi-plug is ready to be delivered. But it's so silly. It's so silly, and it annoys me because, again, it emphasizes just how incompetent Starfleet have become. And I'm really, over the weeks, I am agreeing more and more with Jason from Trek Recommendations, where it's just, we know so many Jasons, by the way, it is insane.
Too many.
What
too
we
many
need to
Jasons.
do is
make them all fight.
We should call them. We should put them all in a room and call them Trayson and have 3 Traysons. But
it's like a triad of Jason.
It is. It's like Zelda. It's the Triforce of Jason. But I agree with him where it's like, these are Starfleet officers that have not gone through proper Starfleet training. They are not as seasoned. They are not as experienced as the Starfleet officers we have seen in the 24th century. That is why when the crew of the Discovery jump forward, most of them become trainers at the academy, because it's like, hey, you're actually good at your job. You've got the qualifications. Would you mind? And it's like, because a lot of people are going, why is Jet Reno an instructor when she's 1,000 years out of date? Why is Tilly? And it's like, because it's not about the technology, it is about the sheer level of training that they have received in a different time.
It's about Starfleet values. It's like, that's the whole difference between the War College and the Academy, is the idea of going, this is the Starfleet attitude, and it's getting the people who were there before, like Aki, like Reno, like Tilly, and then having them come in and bring it in with them. And, you know, obviously they've got all the training, but I'm pretty sure that there's like, to be fair, when in Star Trek, there is the whole, what's it called? The temporal, the temporal Cold War and the temporal Prime Directive, and you've got all these people there. There's probably a crash course. They probably be like, so you've been transported 1,000 years into the future. Watch this instructional video. It just goes, okay, here's how technology has changed.
Diana died? No, that was before. Oh,
like,
right.
It's been 800 years. Let's see what's changed. Nothing. Right, okay. So
we need to wrap this up.
These hundreds of years of cultural references that we can go to. No, we're still talking about the 90s.
We're still referring to Price is Right.
We're still talking about the early 2000s. Nothing of note happened in 800 years that we could actually mention.
We're still referring to that 40-year-old quiz show, The Price is Right, from the 1980s.
Yeah, by this guy who's never lived on Earth. I'm sorry, I love Paul Giamatti, but I fucking hate Miss Bracker. Like, I don't understand the character. It's just a wet...
We need to wrap this up. We need to wrap this up, and we need to get to the next segment, because I've got a challenge for Mr. Jones as well. Do we have any notes? Gentlemen, hasn't
he passed his challenge by sitting still while we've just talked at him for like 2 hours? That's a challenge.
Joke's on you. He's all AI.
What?
The real David is on set at the moment. Can you tell he's got 7 fingers? Do we have... Oh my God, 10! Do we have any notes, gentlemen?
Well, let's have a look. Let's try and summarize my notes.
Page 1.
I did write in large... I did write in large letters just wank, and I can't remember what part that's referring to. That was. Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to find the context.
I won't be saying that on TV.
Oh, it was just Nusbracker. It was literally just Nusbracker and then wank.
When if there's ever a museum for Trekking Up North, his notes are going to be fabulous. Like there was one he sent me a photo a few months ago, and it was literally just a full page of what the fuck is this shit, and it was so funny.
Oh God. No, I'm not sure. Like, there's all these questions I have about it, but I think maybe they could be dealt with in a kind of summary episode, or where we've talked about other things. But I think what we've done is we've talked about all of the issues that we have with Starfleet Academy, the issues that we have with these episodes, and these episodes, you know, rather than the specific details of what we find problematic, it's the fact that it's symptomatic throughout a lot of the show. But then what I want to talk about is the positives, which is the fact that I absolutely loved Reno in this. It was great seeing a character getting a chance to shine. I loved how cool she was. I was very worried that she was going to get killed, because I thought it was going into Discovery territory of going, hey, look, this character gets some screen time. Oh, they're dead. But yeah, I did love it. I loved that. No, the rest of the crew didn't really get it. Like, Jaden didn't get any time. Reno didn't really get any. Raimi didn't get any time. I'm struggling to draw many positives from this.
I think it's safe to say
positives that we've had to the series as a whole.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say, gentlemen, Reno is the star of the final episode, apart from David, of course. But Reno was the star of this episode. On the whole, for a first season, it was an okay first season. There were extremely good episodes, but it was then counterbalanced with extremely bad episodes where we had.
The problem is, like I've said, all of the bad episodes, in our opinion, okay, because we share this opinion.
Yeah.
It's the fact of all the bad episodes were the ones where they were the crucial plot episodes.
Yeah.
And that just makes me go, I don't know if they wanted to make a Star Trek show. Like, all of the stuff, like, you know, that it's literally episode 1. Is it 5? Is 5 the
5 is Cisco.
No, okay, 6 then.
Episode 6, yeah. The Miyazaki.
So yeah, episode 1, episode 6, episode 9, episode 10 are the weakest episodes of the series. They are the ones where there's the least character development, there's loads of just random action happening, and the plot is get from A to B to C to D to E, and without any rhyme or reason. And yet they're the plot ones. That's the overarching thing. The whole. So I think if they took out anything to do with Caleb and his mum from Starfleet Academy, it would be a far better show. It would be one of the best Star Trek shows, I think, in terms of
and stuff. The love.
And that's terrifying when you think about it.
And
it's
the
like going,
love.
Hey, if you just get Star Wars and then take the Jedi out of it, it would be great. And hilariously, that's what made Andor so amazing.
And the love we have had for certain characters, not even the legacy characters, like Sam, I feel
Sam is great.
Fantastic. But again,
Aki is amazing.
Aki is good.
Aki is amazing, but she just gets crap when she's in one of these episodes. When she's an episode with Paul Giamatti as Braca, the character changes and she just becomes this kind of, I don't know.
The thing with Sam is we absolutely love Sam, but we haven't had the chance to see her new character in the last 2 episodes, and she goes on about how she's changed and stuff like that. Let us see it. Let us see this. Let us see more interactions with your father as well to properly develop it. But again, we are restricted by the 10-episode rule, which is so silly. Do we have any other notes before we move on?
One thing, the one tiny thing is at the end in the ending monologue, Caleb refers to himself as Cadet Second Class. How is he only second class when he is literally put on every important mission? When he is literally picked out specifically for everything? Like, what's the class system? Like,
I genuinely don't know.
we've seen him excel in every single class that he does, except for like one of them. So he's like a grade A student. He's in all the missions. He's like literally everything. And then it's going, yeah, but he's not actually that high rank. And you're like, like, I don't get it. It's
I don't.
Where are the first class people?
Yeah,
like,
I don't get it. But again, it's one of those things where they're saying it for saying its sake, and they're not explaining it. Which again, for Trekkies, I don't think you do that. I don't think you should really do that. And I know there's been criticism of the end credits, which I thought they were nice. I thought that could have been something that they did at the end of the series. But there was criticism because like everyone graduated in 3196, and it's like, no, like the students have graduated year one, but then you've got Aki who's 400 years old, you got the Doctor who was 1,000 years old. It's just a little bit. I don't know. It was a silly touch
because obviously it had pictures of the actors as kids, not the things, and it was just it was a mixed kind of thing. I like it. I think it's cute. I think it shows a lot of respect for their actors and stuff. But at the same time, it was just like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Any thoughts, David, before we grill you? Ooh. Anything?
Nothing.
You're on mute.
Oh,
I think. Are you talking?
Oh,
there we go. I'm trying to think. Okay.
Any positive thoughts? Give us a positive thought.
Give me your positive thoughts about Starfleet Academy as a series. Like, how have you felt? I know, obviously, you were in it, and there's a sort of prerogative there. But, like, how have you felt about it? Like, how has it worked its way into Star Trek canon for you?
I think my favorite episode is obviously going to be the Cisco episode. Seeing Jake back on the live action screen after all these years was emotional. I grew up as a kid watching Deep Space Nine, TNG. Again, that's pretty well known. So getting to see him come back as Jake Sisko again it just hit the nostalgic vibes to me so much. I still think that's the best episode of the series by far. There was things I wanted from Starfleet Academy that I did not get, and I think that's put down my I think season 1 could have been a lot better than what it was. And some friends who have their own podcasts as well too said this might have worked better as an animated series, not as a live action one.
They probably would have still found a way to spend the same amount of money.
And I maybe there was a pitch and they turned around and said, but we've already got Prodigy with young cadets, and we've already got Lower Decks with young ensigns and stuff. Having a third one, do we need a third animated show?
But if you're gonna bring it, like, the humor that they try to pull doesn't really work for Star Trek. Like, it might work in certain points, but that might have worked better with Lower Decks or Prodigy than a live action series.
Hear me out. Instead of Starfleet Academy, just continue with Prodigy. They were in Starfleet Academy. It was in the TNG era. You had the Doctor. They could have just continued.
They genuinely could have had a third season of Prodigy where they actually do get to do Academy and they get to do all of this, and it would have just been there, and we could have gone, hey, Reno has been teleported back from the future. Like all it could have been done, like it's and that's the thing. But what character out of the new characters introduced in Academy, like which one was your favorite? Like, obviously, like, or was it the Legacy? Did you still find yourself going towards the Doctor in this?
Yeah, I would say going towards the Doctor, because I met him at a Toronto Comic-Con before COVID, and he put such an impression on me. Like, my friend was the one getting the autograph and the selfie with him, yet Bob came over and made sure that I came in the selfie with him and my friend as well too. So that always left a lasting impression on me. Holly Hunter was good. I love Paul Giamatti. I said, I love watching him do his thing on sets. Being there was, that close was so cool. And it's something as an actor you're always appreciate. Just like when I saw Clint Howard doing his stuff on, Strange New Worlds. it just hit the nostalgic vibes. What I wanted to see from Starfleet Academy is what I saw in The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. I wanted to see like Red Squadron stuff. I wanted to see stories like that.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Out of an entire
get that here.
Out of an entire academy, there was nothing. Like we got like, oh, they have Bejor Club, and then that's that. Like that appears, and then there's nothing else. Like it kind of forgets it's actually at an academy around episode 5, I think, and then just goes, oh yeah, forgot there's meant to be other students and there's meant to be other things going on. Like it's odd. It kind of it loses track that it's not sure whether it wants to be a teen drama or an actual Star Trek show or something totally separate, like a thriller or whatever the Caleb's mum, drama is. But yeah.
I think it's time. I think it's time, gentlemen. I think it's time we wrap up our review of episode 9 and 10. And the series as a whole. I'm still looking forward to season 2. I want to know what they've got in store. I'm very excited for that. Again, I'm avoiding any. Well, I mean, we won't see them, but I'm going to be avoiding all trailers and everything like that, like I do with every Star Trek. I want to go in fresh and tunnel visioned.
Well,
so
definitely
I can watch it.
After how bad all of the promo stuff for Starfleet Academy was, and the fact that I don't think they're going to improve, I don't want to see any promo stuff for Starfleet Academy season 2 because I know that it's not going to be actually representative of what's good about the show. But I'm worried for season 2 because if it was that we had season 1 and it's aired as it has, and now they're going off to make season 2, I would be a lot happier about it. But
having the feedback.
Yeah, the fact that they've made season 2 with absolutely no idea about how season 1 would be received makes me just think it's going to have the same problems that season 1 has. And I'm just a bit worried that it's going to double down and not actually go, oh, we should use Laura Thok more. Oh, we should do this. And oh, actually, we should, So I'm sure the fact of if season 1 is like a 5 or 6 out of 10, season 2 is going to be a 5 or 6 out of 10, or maybe it'll be higher, but I'm looking forward to it. But at the same time, it's not going to be as good as it could be with the feedback from people today.
They might have to go back and do reshoots again. If they're smart, they might have to go back and do reshoots again.
That's it, maybe.
Yeah.
Again, season 1's had a lot of criticism and not very positive, not a lot of positives.
Will that hurt it?
Yeah.
Will that hurt it? Because like we're saying, we're seeing a lot of plots getting changed in the editing room for season 1. Is it going to hurt season 2 with them desperately trying to fix it and go like, oh, actually, we just take that whole thing out, or get rid of that character, or... Yeah, that's...
There's definitely a problem with shooting back-to-back because you don't get that feedback. You really don't. And, I would say that Picard 2 and 3, they were extremely lucky with that because they were shot back-to-back and season 2 was a mess, everyone thinks, but then season 3 was good, and it was like you got lucky with that, and that formula cannot be replicated. And what we are seeing is the feedback, the criticism, the constructive criticism, shall we say, is not going to be fed back till at least season 3, if they get a season 3. Same with Strange New Worlds. The feedback and the criticism that was levied towards it in season 3 will not be remedied, or wouldn't have been remedied until at least season 5. But then season 5 only had 6 episodes. So again, you're playing with very limited amount of time to get stuff done. But we are done with Starfleet Academy. You could stop hating us now. We are done with Starfleet Academy. Yes,
I love that it's brought so much stuff in. I'm so happy that we now have Chancellor Aki. I'm so glad that we have like characters like Rami and Genesis and Sam. I'm so glad we have extra lore on the Doctor. I'm so glad that we have Yeah, like, we got to see more of Reno. We know what Tilly's doing. We know how Dax and Jake progress and stuff. I'm so happy that it's brought these things into the lore. I'm really happy for that.
That is
even if it was delivered in a van with a wheel missing, I think is. But
I think that has been our overall positive take from this season, is the world building that it has tried to do. Yeah. So I applaud it for that. Anyway, yes, Peaches, it has been oiled. It has been dusted off. It has been given a brand new home. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Treks and Sorry, I'm going into House of the Commons speaker. Order! Order! The right honourable Geesian has the floor. It has been polished and it has been given a new home. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Treks and Trekkers worldwide, introducing the Double Wheel. It's back, baby. For those just joining, and if this is your first time ever seeing this is the Double Wheel of episodes, and within it, myself and Science Officer Synoiz have put 12 good episodes, i.e. the Double Wheel of Honor, and 12 bad episodes, i.e. the Double Wheel of Shame. And what we do when we get a guest, or if we don't have a guest, we encourage people to send us in challenges. And the results of that challenge determine if we spin on the Wheel of Honor or the Wheel of Shame. Now, I have deliberately not reached out for a challenge this week because I myself have a challenge for Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones. Once again,
Mr. Jones.
Once again,
Mr. Jones.
There is nothing that you possess that I cannot take away. I have a challenge for you. I have a challenge for you. It's a dead easy question. Your answer will depend if we spin on the Wheel of Honor and the Wheel of Shame. When we spin the wheel and it stops, we all have to yell at the top of our lungs, Dabble! You all have to put in the comments, Dabble. You have to put in the chat, Dabble. You have to message us on Hinge, Dabble. You have to throw a pigeon through my window with Dabble written on its feathers. You all have to do it. It's the law. Yeah. Mr. Jones, this is your question, which is directly related to episode 10 of Starfleet Academy Season 1. Are you ready?
Let's try.
The confidence.
He oozes the confidence. Mr. Jones, your question is, what is the name of the new Klingon homeworld?
Uh-oh.
Jefferson.
Yeah.
Moving on up to the
east.
New Birmingham.
Oh! You're on the right wavelength.
Kronos? No.
Yes! He got it!
Yes, Kronos. That might show my attention span.
I think that would have taken an entire marketing team several months to come up with. That's like, I was joking about on a podcast the other day that we've got two cities. We've got Newcastle and we've got Gateshead. And they're next to each other. And they literally got a company in to decide the name for what the little space between the two of them should be called. And they decided to call it Newcastle Gateshead without the space. And I'm just like, that cost how many thousands of pounds for a company to come up with? Like, what are we going to call this planet that's replacing Kronos?
Castlehead. Castlehead. Thanks to his genius, his pure raw knowledge of Star Trek.
Or guesswork.
Lots of caffeine.
Lots of caffeine. It is New Kronos. It was in the Venarianal News Network in the little ident, in the little lower third at the bottom. They mention New Kronos. So there you go. It is official. That means I don't have to do any code changes because we stay on the double wheel of honor. Now, I have genuinely forgotten what is in this double wheel of honor.
Yeah. I don't even know if I took duet out of it, so that could be a problem.
Oh, we'll just re-review it. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll respin it if we get an episode that I've foolishly left in the wheel. But yeah.
Hang on, it's consumed my entire screen. There we go. Right.
Okay.
I'm going to spin this wheel, and remember, gentlemen, you have to scream at the top of your lungs in 3, 2, 1.
Wow!
Measure of a man.
Episode.
Woo! And a uniform I can fit into. Yes! That is...
Read that.
Star Trek The Next Generation, The Measure of a Man. And I need to get the synopsis for this. I have not even got Memory Alpha up for this. I have been so underprepared. Memory, no, not meme base, Memory Alpha.
Dabo, everyone. Everyone in the chat just yelling Dabo.
That was such a low energy Dabo, but it was so charismatic that you should have had a smoking jacket. Dabo.
If one must.
Oh, The Measure of a Man.
Now, this is one of the most famous episodes of Trek ever.
One of the legendary ones for sure.
Yes, this is, and it's a courtroom episode, and it's great that, like, I think this is one of the ones that I referenced specifically when we were talking about how good the episode 8 was, where I was saying, wow, episode 8 of Starfleet Academy is going down in my list of best episodes of Trek ever. Like, and I mentioned, obviously, Measure of a Man. I mentioned The Drumhead. I mentioned, like Far Beyond the Stars and whatnot. So it's great that we actually are getting to follow up Starfleet Academy with something this classic.
Season 2, Episode 9 of Star Trek The Next Generation, The Measure of a Man, 3 inches. Picard must prove Data is legally a sentient being with rights and freedoms under Federation law when transfer orders demand Data's reassignment for study and disassembly. This also features Bruce Maddox as well.
Who hopefully doesn't just get killed like a bitch in a random episode of Picard season 1. You know, like,
Stardust City, right?
Wouldn't it be great to know that? Wouldn't it be great to know that this character gets fully used in later stuff, and then, you know?
Wouldn't it be great if we brought out our berets for this episode again and our eye patches?
I think I burnt mine. No, it is actually. It's actually. You can't see this, okay? But obviously this is the room I do podcasts and whatnot, and all of the props that we have had are just chucked on the floor at the side, and they haven't been moved or anything. So we still have the old man wig, we still have the Beverly Crusher wig, and we do still have the beret just lying down there, because I haven't tidied it up at all. Have you got it as well? Hold on,
I do declare! I do...
Good.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. Right, we'll wrap.
I don't know which way it goes around. I don't know.
We'll wrap up this episode like this.
Yeah.
There we go.
I do declare. I don't know if I'm actually looking like him or Theresa May at the moment.
You're both failures. I do declare. I do declare, Science Officer Synoiz.
I do declare it is the end of the episode. Thank you so much, David, for being here.
It has been an honor, sir. It has been an honor, sir. I do declare you shall be on future episodes of Trekking Up North. Next week, we will be reviewing. That's Will with an H. We will be reviewing her measure of a man.
I feel like a Karen. I feel like a sort of elderly...
I look like I stuck my hair. I stuck my finger in a plug. I do declare, we shall be reviewing The Measure of a Man in the next episode of Trekking Up North. I would like to thank my... You
look like Don, the wrestling guy.
Don King.
I would like to thank our very special guest, David Jones, for joining us for 2 hours and 13 minutes. His poor posterectum must be numb as fuck. Thank you to my wonderful... Just a wee bit. Thank you to my wonderful co-host, Science Officer Synoiz. You can see more of David in the Captain's Quadrant tonight because he's doing this shit all over again. You can follow the Captain's Quadrant and all of the friends of Trekkin Up North in the links down below, as well as our socials, as well as the Velvet Snatch, as well as Synoiz on Twitch. You can follow us all. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Click that like button, click that subscribe, and more importantly, share Trekking Up North with everyone that you know and annoy them with it. We've got some very exciting things planned for the future. We have a spin-off show that I'm not going to say just yet. But it's genius, and I'm so happy it made my week. Until then, my lovelies. Picard and Data. The measure of a man is... The measure of a man's 4 inches. He's 4 inches. Yeah. Until then, my lovelies, take care of yourselves. Live long and prosper. Go forth and multiply if you're northern. Take care of yourselves, and as ever, on Trekking Up North.
Thank you, David.
Miles?
Your sorbet sucks. Now get out.